So Jeremy, I'm actually going to hit you with a philosophical question off the top, just so people can get to understand a little bit about who you are. Gratitude, it's such a buzzword. I think there's increasing research about the importance of it. And every time I talk to you and every time I listen to you talk, I just feel like you're someone who truly embodies it. So where does your gratitude come from?
That's awesome. You picked up on that. And I'm lucky. I've had so many mentors and role models that have always kind of harped that. And we are so lucky. Like there's so many little things, but like you can't even look at them as little things. Everything's a big thing. And when you have the attitude of gratitude, that was the biggest thing that I learned from Red Gendron up in Maine. And one of the first speeches he gave to us was, I promise you that I'm going to make you a better human being. You're going to have the attitude of gratitude every day, and you're going to represent your family well. And basically everything that he was saying at this first team meeting, he was, and we all learned from that. And so, I mean, what better way to honor him than to continue that? Just every day, we're so lucky to be where we are, and even the downs and the ups and downs of life, we find the good in everything and how we can learn from the downs and really celebrate the ups in our small wins. So yeah, it's a really fun way to look at life. And I think personally I've gained so much from it, and being able to communicate with, people like you, teammates, friends and family. It's a really fun topic to discuss and share.
All right, we'll scroll it all the way back. You grew up in a really small town in Alaska. What were the dynamics of just getting noticed in hockey?
It was pretty unique, I would say. We were so isolated up there, and not too many USHL, North American Hockey League, or college coaches were coming up to watch, a U16 practice. So whenever we did get the chance to travel, we understood as players, and our coaches all went through it too, that was our opportunity to get seen and go to that next level. So I think the Alaskans, to this day, all the hockey players understand that we have a different chip on our shoulder, and just kind of a different mindset when we do get the opportunity to perform in games, and knowing that we're being seen, and every day we get on the ice, there's an opportunity to be seen. And it is pretty special seeing this next wave of Alaskans getting opportunities to get seen by different coaches, and we're kind of making some noise. And so it's really awesome to see, the USA Hockey having festivals up there now, district tournaments, national tournaments. And so we're a part of the US too, even though we're a little far, but there's a really special community up there. The hockey world up there is so tight knit, and it's been really fun to see different players have success and get out and show what Alaska's made of.
So you said like every time that you were at a tournament, could have been your big break. Like, what was your big break?
Wow, it's funny. I was just talking to Fluto about this like 10 minutes ago. My big break, not even a break, was getting cut from the Null, getting cut from the Kenai Brown Bears, and I had the opportunity to go play for Greg Vanover in Colorado Springs, and that was my first year. I had to leave Alaska because we didn't have enough kids to field a U18 team, and I was playing JV hockey the year before, so
Wow.
there wasn't any high school hockey like the Minnesotas have, or organized hockey. There's only enough players to field one team, if that, at the U18 level at least. So I had to leave my U18 year, which was my junior year in high school, and that year changed my whole life. And I guarantee I would not be here if it wasn't for Greg Vanover and the minors, and my wonderful billet family, the Nolettes, that I'm going to see in Colorado in 4 days. So I'm so excited. But that year I just learned so much about teamwork, leadership, and competitiveness. And Greg pushed us to the absolute limits. We were getting ran after games. We were going up mountains, and he knew that we had a group that was going to be able to handle that. And I was really fortunate to be a part of the leadership group as well. And I really learned how to have a voice in the locker room and be kind of that steady heartbeat in net for the first time. And we won some pretty remarkable games. Like it was kind of a group of misfits, all from different parts of the US, and it was one of the best years of my life. So that year with Greg and the minors definitely was a huge turning point in my life and career.
So I know you're a really outdoorsy guy, like you love to get lost in nature. And I understand that was one of the University of Maine's big recruiting pitches for you. What
Definitely.
was the biggest transition of moving to a city like Boston?
I mean, I don't think I could be any more fortunate to be coming to Boston. I mean, obviously going to Maine, it's right in New England. So when I do need the woods, I could take a hour drive and get up in the New Hampshires and Vermonts and stuff. But it was a little bit of a culture shock at first. I was wearing all my Alaskan outfits. So I have these chacos. I got, some bright shorts and these, really bright Patagonias and stuff. And I was walking down the street kind of getting side-eyed a little bit. And I'm like, all right, maybe it's time for me to get a little bit different of a wardrobe. But that was the biggest transition, I think. And now being in the city, and understanding, how much they love the hockey team, the Bruins, and of course all sports, I couldn't feel more at home. And it is a huge testament to the city and how much they love their sports teams and just the overall kindness. You go out and North End and you're eating at different restaurants and you're getting hugs and different managers and owners all over. It's really special to be a part of the city. And again, we're right on the water as well. So when you do need a little bit of peace and quiet, you can kind of take a walk out there, and you're not going to be here in the bumper to bumper traffic like some cities. So it was a little bit of transition at first, but now I feel like I've adopted it pretty well.
When you go out for a drive to go hike in New Hampshire just to get that fix, like how often are you able to do that during the season?
During the season, not so much, for obvious reasons, but this summer I was all over it. I was able to go up to Mount Washington and bring a couple of the boys, and it's pretty fun, like being able to experience different parts of this New England area that I wasn't able to in the past. So during the season, if I need a little bit of a break, I can go to the Boston Common right over here, or kind of find my way north and go up towards like Reading area. But there really is different little pockets in the city. I live kind of close to the water, and so you kind of do this little harbor walk, and you're looking at the city, and there's no streets around and stuff. So I think I take my summers really seriously, though, when I do have that time off, to really get as much nature and outdoorsy stuff as I can, because you appreciate it so much more when you don't get it at will necessarily during the season.
What do you love about nature? Like when you're out there, what do you do? What do you feel?
I think that's a great question. I mean, it's really special because you learn something new every time. And I'm a huge fly fisherman, and a lot of the catch and release fishing I do allows me to go into different spots, and it feels like humans haven't really been there before, because you kind of make it your own. The river just winds and dips different ways, and it changes every year too, with different snowfalls, windstorms, where trees are falling and stuff. So I really take initiative on being off my phone and just being in the moment, because I could be fishing for 4 hours and it feels like it's been 10 minutes. And so that's what I love most about it. And when you're in kind of the depths of the season and everything seems kind of heavy and your body's kind of banged up, you think back to moments like this summer when I was fishing up in Calgary, for say, and there wasn't a worry in the world, and you were just so happy in that moment. And I also love nature because it sucks at times when it's pouring sideways rain and there's literally no way it could get worse, and you appreciate the little things when you're in the city. Be like, all right, I can go duck into a cafe when it's pouring rain out. So it's a really special place to be, because it teaches you so much about perspective on overall life, and that's where you get that gratitude. It's like, how lucky am I to be in this position I am?
I like getting a peek into your mindset. And goalie, as we know, it's just such a position of mental focus. I'm always wondering, like when I'm in games, I'm usually standing over the goalie's shoulder. And in my mind, I'm like, what is the going through their head right now? Like, what are they thinking? And Jeremy, I was actually talking to one of the officials the other day, and he said that you were one of the most vocal goalies in the entire league. But in the games, you're like super loose and cracking jokes and being funny. Like, just take me through what's going on back there.
Oh, I love the officials. They're beauties. So every time I get on the ice, I'm trying to make eye contact, or even with fans. Like I absolutely love engaging with fans, and away fans, they love beaking you a little bit, but I always give them a wink because, we all love the same game. But I think I learned a lot about that in college up in Maine, and Alfie and I would talk about that a lot, because at times, you as a goalie, you want to win so bad, you want to save every puck so bad, you get tight and you kind of chase pucks. And I've just kind of realized that it is a game, and I'm supposed to have fun, and it's an entertainment business at the same time. And what's better to watch than somebody having fun? And I absolutely love thriving off that. and everyone out there is there for the same reason, officials included. And you know, obviously times get heated when, you know, guys are competing, but that's the love of the game. And I mean, I feel like I've made so many great connections and friendships with officials, other teammates, and or of course my teammates, but even players that I play against. You know, I love Given Zibanejad. I had a couple daps of love for his DJ, and so it's just fun to have those kind of connections and be vocal. And I think it gives me an opportunity to just give myself a little bit of perspective, where even though these games are super important every night, I know that, but I'm allowed to breathe and enjoy. And the way I do that is vocalize and joke and have a good time.
What did Mika say when you were like, hey, great job at Lollapalooza this summer?
He was like, you know about that? I was like, yeah, it came up. I was pretty fired up because I love music, right? And it was pretty special when I saw that. And it's so cool to see. You know, I think hockey players especially, they're so diverse in what they're into. And I've met so many guys that are obviously into nature stuff and music. And it's been really fun to connect with different guys around the league that are also into different stuff, obviously, besides hockey.
So like we always hear about how the Bruins culture in your locker room is so special. It's really inclusive, right? Like you're always really welcoming to the younger guys. So when you were coming in, can you give me just like one or two examples of what that was like, of some of the older guys just extending their arm and making you feel like you were a Bruin too?
Definitely. I mean, the first thing I remember would be going to my first development camp, and Marshy was working out in the summer here. And obviously I was, you know, 175 pounds soaking wet and not developed whatsoever. And I'm looking at Marshy just busting ass in this weight room. And it was like the middle of July. And I was just so blown away by his work ethic and mentality. And you know, I was one of the first guys in there, and he walked up and he's just like, he knew who I was, and he was really open and just being like, how's your summer? I know you're an outdoorsy guy. And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm an outdoorsy guy. Like, you're a stud. Like, and to this day, I call it Marshy mentality. And when I get in the locker room or when I get going, it's fun to push each other and just kind of have that over the edge compete and work ethic. And that was something that I knew that, you know, I was going to take seriously. And to this day, obviously, he's been a huge mentor and role model of mine, and consider him a brother. So Bergie was the same way, obviously, you know, one of those larger than life kind of humans that you meet for the first time. You're going into your first game, and him and Krejci were laughing, being like, Sway, it's not that big of a deal. It's just another game, you know. And it was great. Like it's that kind of stuff that it's subtle but so impactful for a young guy. And you know, now being one of the older guys in the room, not really, but it's kind of crazy to think it's getting that way. It's really special to be able to be that way to the younger guys coming in, and just giving them that love and support, and obviously showing them through actions. And that's the culture that we have here. Is every guy, it's a next man up mentality. So we expect each other and one another to have that same mentality of having over the edge work ethic. You know, obviously an incredible team culture, and do anything for a teammate.
Is there anything you haven't done in an NHL game that you want to do?
Score.
How
I
often do you
want to
work
score.
on it? You practice?
Yeah, we've been practicing, but you know, that's something that'll come. It's just fun to think about. But yeah, score, maybe a fight too, but we'll save that for another time.
Fair enough, fair enough. You know, we're always talking about like some of the guys with sick releases these days. You know, obviously Ovi's an incredible shooter, Austin Matthews, now Connor Bedard. Are there any low-key shooters in the league that you just find really difficult to defend
Oh,
against?
every single team. You know, we laugh about it, but like it's so true. All four lines, all, you know, 3D pairings can score goals. They're here for a reason, and you can't take anyone lightly. Yeah, I think Pavel Zacha is one of those guys that's kind of a dark horse that can absolutely zip a puck, and I get the luxury of getting it to sing by my ear every practice. So it's those kind of guys that, you know, have such a sweet release, and they work on it every day. And I mean, I see him going out early and working on it. So other guys around the league, I mean, it's just everyone. Like obviously the Brinket, he's had some success. You know, the Connor Cliftons of the world, those guys, right? So it's awesome to see that you know, this league is obviously the best in the world, and everyone in this league can score goals. So there's no off time for goalies.
All right, last question. We talked about how close the Bruins are, and I know Kevin Shattenkirk invited you guys over for Christmas, you and Jacob Lauko, and then I saw a very disturbing image on the internet of you guys getting stuck in the elevator. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, we had a few guys over at Shaddy's, and it was awesome. We had so much fun, and just kind of winding down, and Laux and I were walking home, and I had this weird feeling about this elevator going in, and I'm not an elevator guy to begin with, so I was like, all right, here we go. And it's one of those like gate shutters, and we were kind of laughing, like going down, like, oh, like what if it gets stuck? It's, midnight. And it did. Like it didn't like abruptly get stuck, thankfully, where we're like shaken, but it just didn't sync up with the exact like first floor. So
Sure.
it just wouldn't open. And Laux and I look at each other, we're like, we're stuck. So Shaddy had to come down. We called him. And luckily there was like a tiny little window in the door we could see out. If it was like straight cement, that would have been a little more sketch. But yeah, Shaddy called the right people. We actually had the fire department come about a half hour later, and they sawed something. There was sparks going and everything, and then we got out. So thankful for our fire department here. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
What were the vibes like those 30 minutes?
Yeah, we had some Akon going. We were
Nice.
listening to music. Yeah, we had Locked Up, and then we had Lonely. It was pretty funny. So we were just kind of just talking, it was like classic Christmas story. So no more stairs, or sorry, no more elevators for us in 2024.
Good resolution.
Yeah,
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thank you for taking the time.
absolutely. Always great talking with you, Emily. Thank you.